Welcome back to part 4, the system options. So the first tab is the general system tab. Here you have partitioning. So if you're using partitioning, you need to check this section 700 number 1. Otherwise, like if you set this to partition 2 in the zones and you don't have partitioning enabled, it's useless. So you need if you're using partitioning, you need to set this up. Audible warning to accept AC failure. So this will make the keypad beep if you have any troubles. RF interference detection, that will detect if there's any interference. Of course, to use this option, you need the wireless module. So by default, the SP6000 doesn't have this. Exit delay termination. This is an interesting option. So if you put your code, let's say you have an exit delay of 1 minute, and then you put your code, and within let's say within 15 seconds you open the door and exit. So it's not gonna go continue the countdown for the whole 60 minutes. It's just gonna switch to the last 10 seconds and arm the system right away. So some people may like this option. Here again, like I said, if there's an option that I don't use or I'm not familiar with, I'm gonna skip over. So here, section 701 number 1, access code length. So here, if by default your panel accepts 4 digits, but if the customer wants more security, so you can force the panel to take 6 digits. So your arming and disarming codes are going to be 6 digits instead of 4. Lock master code. I don't know when you would use this, but if you check this, then they cannot change the master code. Panic options. So panic. So if you look at the keypad, it comes with a sticker. Usually number 1 is the police, number 2 is fire, and number 3 is ambulance. So if you choose to put this sticker on the panel, you have to enable this. So basically, if number 1 is enabled, then if the user presses buttons 1 and 3, then it dials to the monitoring station and tells them to call the police. If they press 4 and 6, then it sends like a fire signal. If they dial 7 and 9, then it's ambulance or medical or whatever. So if you don't have these options enabled and someone presses 1 and 3, it does nothing. Or some people may not need it for whatever reason. Then you can disable this if you don't like. So here, the panic 1, you can choose it to send the report silently. So basically it will dial, sends the hold up signal without triggering any audible alarm. If you set it to audible, then when they press this button, the siren will go off to let them know that it's sending a panic signal. Obviously, if you have a hold up situation, you probably don't need you probably don't want the siren to go off. So use this as you like, or as your customer likes. Again, one touch regular arming or force arming. So you can arm the panel by holding down the arm button until it beeps, or in that number 2 section, if you want to stay arm, you can hold down the stay button and it will arm. Same with the sleep and bypass. So regular arming switches to force arming, and stay arming switches to force arming. Basically what those do is, if the zone is open, if you have any zone is open and you're trying to arm the system, then it's going to automatically force arm it. So rather than asking you to close the zone or bypass it, then it will force arm it. So you have to use that carefully and make sure you test it before you set these two options up. Zones, here zone doubling, I have never used that, so I'm not gonna comment about that one. If you're using the auto arm on time feature, if you remember this from the timings tab, we had auto arming here. So you would need this option enabled if you plan to use auto arm at a particular time, or if you plan to use auto arm when there is no movement detected, then you can use this. Again, this is for partition 2, the auto arming dialer. So here you have the telephone line monitoring. If you're not using a telephone line to monitor the account, then you should have this to disabled. Otherwise, and give you a communication trouble. So usually we use silent alarm becomes audible alarm. One of those two options might have the keypad beeping when there's trouble. Report system disarming. If the system is armed and someone, like there's a break-in, then it will, and someone goes back and disarms the system, then only then it will report the disarming. If you set it to always, then it will always report that when the system was disarmed. So event call directions. Here you see call phone number 1 for arm and disarm reporting codes. So when you have this option checked in, you're basically, it's reporting the openings and closings. Usually we use this in combination with the report arming and disarming always, and then we have the openings and closings. If your monitoring station has 2 numbers, then you can use this one as well.